Hey everybody, Kevin Anthony here. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you 4 reasons why you shouldn't use porn to learn about sex. But before I do that, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Doing so greatly helps the channel. Okay, so before I talk about the 4 reasons, let me just say, if you followed our work for any amount of time, you know that we are not 100% against porn. There is a time and a place and a use for it. Of course, you want to make sure that you are using it responsibly and in a healthy way. And that's part of what today's talk is about. Because porn is entertainment. It is fantasy. It is not the place that you go to learn how to have sex or to learn how to have good sex. So I'm going to give you 4 reasons why that is the case. Number 1, porn is not real. It's fantasy. You wouldn't go to something that is fake or fantasy to learn how to do something that's real. Let me give you an example of that. You wouldn't learn how to drive a car from playing a video game where you're driving cars or watching a movie where you're driving cars. In fact, if you watched most of today's videos as a way to figure out how to drive a car, you'd think that you'd be doing 100 miles an hour all the time, sliding around the turns and smashing other cars off the road, because in every action movie, that's pretty much what they do. But if you were to actually try that in real life, you're going to have some problems. Now, obviously, let's say you're learning to fly a plane and you're in one of those realistic flight simulators that has all the controls that are the same and it moves the same way a plane. That's a little bit different story. So before I get comments telling me, what if you're in a flight simulator? Or what if you're in a driving simulator? Okay, in that case, great. But that is not the same analogy as watching porn versus actually performing sex. So hopefully we will nip those comments right in the bud. But keep in mind that porn simply isn't real, and nothing you see in it is really the way it would go down in real life. So for instance, the people don't look like the type of people you will most likely be having sex with. So the women's boobs are exaggerated and the butts are exaggerated. The orgasms are exaggerated. The size of the penises are exaggerated. None of that is what you will most likely see in your real life, in your own sex life. So, number 1, porn is not real. Number 2, the positions that you see in porn movies are often done so that the camera can get a good angle. If you've ever made a home porn movie, and you know you have, come on, admit it, you know you have, when you go look at it later on, you're like, I can't see anything, right? Because it's hard to see what's going on clearly unless you are purposely putting yourself into positions that cameras can get into. So if you're trying to figure out, what kind of a position should I be in or how do I do that, porn really is not a good way to figure that out. In fact, if you go back and listen to the Love Lab podcast, I don't remember what episode number it is, but it was titled How to Have Sex Like a Porn Star or Not. We interviewed Eric Everhard, who was one of the most popular male porn stars, and he talked about this in that interview, about how many of the things that you see don't make for good sex. They're just done because they look good on camera. That leads me to the next one, which is that the women are often faking it. So if you see a guy doing a particular technique in some probably awkward looking position, and she's screaming her head off and her lungs out and having this massive orgasm, that's probably not the case. She's probably faking it for the camera. It doesn't mean that that particular technique or position is really doing it for her. Which of course leads me to the 4th one, which is that the techniques themselves are also often done for the camera. Eric Everhard spoke to this as well. He mentioned that the way that he would give oral sex to a woman on camera was absolutely not the way he would ever give oral sex to a woman in real life. Because normally you'd have your face kind of buried in there and you wouldn't be able to see anything. But for porn oral sex, you want to actually see what's happening. So you kind of move your head back a little bit and stick your tongue out as far as you can. That's not good for the giver, and it's not really that good for the receiver either. So I hope that you understand from this video that if you really want to learn great technique from sex, don't go to porn. Go to porn for entertainment. Go to porn for some turn on, maybe something new or different to experiment with in your relationship. But don't go there to learn good sex technique. If you want to learn good sex technique, go buy our courses at powerandmastery.com. Watch more of our videos here. Listen to the Love Lab podcast. Hire me as a coach. Go to kevinandceline.com and go to the Work With Me tab. Those are all ways that you can learn how to be really great in bed, but don't try to learn it from porn.